I think it's no secret that my original first take on this of what if Naruto was a Saiyan definitely ended up getting quite a bunch of views. However, one thing is that I personally don't really enjoy the way that I covered that series from a while ago, so now I'm here to revamp it and give my new official take on what if Naruto was a Saiyan. Upon my first time making this video, at first I thought to myself that if I made it as fanficky as possible, I was going to enjoy the series. I did at the time, but now that I started thinking about it, I realized that I just didn't really enjoy my own take on it. So here I am to kind of spice things up again. Now, the way that this whole story is pretty much going to be taking place is this time, Naruto will be having access to 0% chakra, Naruto will be landing on the planet like a Saiyan would in a Saiyan pod, and the way that everything will start will be in the day of the Nine Tails incident, the attack on the Nine Tails and stuff like that, right? Now, just like in the original, Minato and Kushina would be having the baby. However, unfortunately, this time around, the child that they were to name Naruto would actually end up, how do I put this? Dying. And because of this, well, let's just say that Kushina, she ended up passing away with this said baby. That left Minato in a very not so positive state of mind, so when ultimately Obito came and attacked the village, his plans actually ended up pretty much almost going according to plan. However, that is until Naruto showed up, because Naruto would come flying in a Saiyan's pod, right? And as he does so, it would just so happen that there would be a full moon. You guys see what I'm doing here? Yeah, okay, cool. So Naruto's pod opens and he takes a quick glimpse at the moon. Naruto, upon seeing this, would go ballistic. Naruto begins to transform into his giant ape state, and so he would begin to tussle with the nine-tailed fox. Now, I don't want to get into the simplistics of, oh, who's stronger, the Nine-Tailed or the giant Ozaru, but for just argument's sake, let's just say that Naruto was definitely going to be a lot more powerful than the Nine-Tails. So the Ozaru Naruto would go on to grab the Nine-Tails by the mouth and begin beating down on it. And he does so in a very horrific manner. Like, it gets to the point where Naruto would quite literally grab Kurama by its jaws, rip it apart, and then shoot a mouth beam into the mouth of Kurama, leading it to straight, well, how do I put this lightly, die, and then Naruto would just sit there and continue rampaging. However, it would be at this moment that, you know, Minato watching all this go down is just like, okay, like, what is going on? Like, this is not okay, you know what I mean? And Naruto got there and he ended up saving everything, right? So Minato's still alive. And what Minato goes on to do is essentially blitz towards the direction of the Ozaru, and Naruto tries to kill Minato. However, luckily, because of the fact that, you know, Naruto was so big and Minato is quite small in comparison to him, he's able to use his flying Raijin to get behind him and unknowingly cut off Naruto's tail. This would lead Naruto to de-transform and then go back on the floor as a baby as he begins to cry. And Minato would land seeing this baby in front of him and then think to himself that there's no way that this baby turned into that gigantic thing that tore the Nine Tails up and absolutely obliterated it. But ultimately, he would eventually think that if he lets this information get out to the public, they're probably going to want to kill him, even though he was the one responsible for beating the tailed beast, saying that he's even more dangerous. So Minato decides to keep it a secret that Naruto was this said baby, and because he lost Kushina on the same day, but this baby was presented in front of him, Minato thinks to himself that he should probably just adopt it, and because it's so powerful, keep it in the Hidden Leaf Village as an asset. I mean, they lost the Nine Tails, but that doesn't mean they should lose this kid too. So Minato would adopt baby Naruto, and so would begin a brand new, massive time skip. 14 years later. 14 years later, Naruto would begin grabbing his stuff, making his way towards the academy, waving Minato goodbye, telling him that he'll come home soon. Minato from here would go on to tell Naruto not to be too late, and Naruto would say he'll never be late. As from here, Naruto would begin flying off towards the school, as he would have a memory to his early childhood. Now this is where I'm going to be covering what exactly happened during this time skip in a very rushed manner. Now during all these years, the beginning of Naruto's early life, Minato tried to get Naruto to learn chakra. However, upon realizing that it was absolutely not going to happen, Minato decided to instead teach Naruto all the fundamentals of taijutsu. And it was through this that Naruto and Minato both learned that Naruto was abnormally powerful. He was very very strong, way stronger than all the other kids early on. But since he couldn't mold chakra, eventually, as soon as the other kids began to get new abilities and all these strange things, Naruto felt very left behind. So he would ask Minato what he could do, and ultimately Minato would be stumped. Eventually, however, Naruto would discover abilities such as ki, and would end up learning the ability to produce ki attacks from his hands, as well as the ability to fly, which is what Naruto would be using at the moment to make his way towards school. However, during all of this time, I'm guessing most of you are probably like, okay, but what happened to the Uchiha clan? 14 years have passed. Well, they lived. With Minato in control of the village, that never ends up going down. And because Naruto would end up being raised by Minato, he would actually end up having a very, very good life. This time around, because his tail doesn't grow back for a while, I'm going to be saying that Naruto just doesn't end up pretty much offing Minato because of that. And even if Minato was to encounter the Gigantico again, I genuinely think that Minato, with the 14 more years of experience under his belt, would have definitely been able to learn the jutsu such as the Rasen Shuriken and, you know, get even more powerful to the point where beings like that don't pose that much of a threat anymore. And also, I definitely believe that he would have taken the masked man into account and, you know, pretty much like got down to business, you know, not letting Danzo go crazy and try to massacre the village, and instead put the Uchiha in a position of power, knowing that since he was there, the Uchiha had nothing to do with this. Obviously, one Uchiha did, but he believes it to be Madara, who is not in association with the village. After this, what I think would essentially just happen is that Naruto would make his way to school, then he would be assigned and placed on a team 7, and I guess some of you guys are probably wondering like what Naruto has access to. Well, I am going to be saying two things. The main reason that I want Naruto to be a Saiyan in this particular version was mainly because of two things. Number one, I love the idea of Zenkai in Dragon Ball, and I also love the idea of the what was it, Kaioken, right? The Kaioken is a very, very, very potent jutsu. Now, Naruto developed a form of Kaioken. Not exactly the Kaioken, but for layman's purposes, we are going to be referring to it as the Kaioken. Now, it's basically an ability that Naruto has access to that is very, very similar to the 8 gates. However, it's what Naruto does with his ki. So basically, he discovered like Kaioken unintentionally through trying to activate the inner gates, right? Because his father would have tried to teach him that, maybe seeing if that would work. Because some people can't use chakra, but they could use the inner gates. And unintentionally, Naruto would have ended up gaining access to the Kaioken, learning an ability that would be extremely strenuous to his body, and Naruto would be number 1 in his class, which the second person, being Sasuke Uchiha, was also going to be on his team, due to Minato being the one who personally picked the teams and thinks that Naruto and Sasuke should get over their rivalry, and what better way than to put them on equal teams so that they're forced to work together. Plus, with both of them on the same team, they could probably go through a bunch of missions, is Minato's overall main thoughts on this. However, eventually Naruto would make his way towards the class, and there he would be handed a test by Mizuki. This time Naruto's not the demon brat, so Mizuki has no prejudice towards him, and so when it comes to the point where Mizuki tries to trick the village, genuinely speaking, Minato would have access to the crystal ball, and I don't see any reason why Minato wouldn't just flying Raijin in front of Mizuki and end his life. So I'm saying that that's going to be happening, and instead of Kakashi being late, because Minato would be there and would not let him be doing that stuff all the time, Kakashi would actually be only about 10 minutes late, which is, hey, that is massive improvement for Kakashi if you really stop and think about it. Ultimately, Kakashi would end up giving them all instructions on what to do the next day, introductions would go down, and just like in the original, that would be very lame, so we're going to skip over that. Eventually, however, we would get to the portion in which 2 weeks worth of D-rank missions would happen, because of course they passed the bell test, and once that ends up taking place, Naruto would end up asking Minato for harder missions. Minato would then end up giving the team the mission of escorting the bridge builder, and with this, what would end up happening is that they would make their way there. Their first encounter with people, or the ops, would be the 2 demon brothers. However, before Sasuke, Kakashi, or anybody else could react, Naruto, using his blinding speed, would go over and straight punch both of them in the stomach, activating his Kaioken-like ability, and then punching them each in the belly, and then sending them flying into the tree. Eventually, Kakashi would go over, interrogate them, and then take their lives, causing Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura to low-key begin to barf in their mouths a little bit, considering that they just witnessed death. Naruto wouldn't really be too accustomed to it because Minato wasn't putting him around all that stuff, but, you know, unfortunately, he has to see all that stuff now. What pretty much would end up taking place after this is that Naruto and the squad would end up continuing their mission. Eventually Zabuza would make his presence known, and once Kakashi would end up getting caught off guard by the water prison jutsu, Naruto would sigh, as he would simply open his mouth and shoot a mouth beam straight at the direction of Zabuza, causing Zabuza to have to let go of it and Sasuke to actually throw a wind shuriken at the direction at the same time, in the direction that Zabuza was gonna dodge. So he had to like double dodge, and it was very hard to do. He got nicked like on the side of the arm with the wind shuriken, and eventually after this ends up happening, Kakashi lands and pretty much goes on to swiftly take care of Zabuza. With this happening, Haku would end up arriving. However, because Naruto is the son of Minato, he is a very, very smart, powerful, and capable Saiyan who would not be willing to let Haku leave with the body of Zabuza without performing the body of a recovery nin on the spot. And Naruto would question Haku immediately, as Haku would throw a pellet of pretty much what's it called, a smoke bomb, right, which would essentially give him cover to escape with Zabuza, or so he would think. However, he doesn't realize that Naruto doesn't have chakra and can still sense him. So Naruto would fly up into the air and would then begin to shoot a bunch of ki blasts towards the direction of Haku. Now, I am going to be saying that Haku would get tagged by a couple of these, and even Zabuza's unconscious body would get tagged by these as well, leading Haku to get very much so enraged and throw Senbon at the direction of Naruto, aimed to kill. But Naruto, after taking this damage, would fly towards the direction of Haku and throw a punch at Haku, which Haku would weave, only to throw a kick at Naruto's stomach, sending him flying back, and Naruto then would get into an angry position, taking out a bow staff which was given to him by Hiruzen, the previous Hokage, and Naruto would spin it in his hands before then saying, "Come on, I'm ready when you are," and Haku would rush in and they would embark in a battle. Now, as soon as this battle would begin, it would be clear that both of them are on very, very equal footing, and Haku would be doing very good against Naruto. However, it wouldn't be until the point where Naruto would get in a handlock with Haku and Haku would be unable to use his hands that Naruto would simply open his mouth and shoot a ki blast point blank at Haku's face, causing Haku's, well, body to, let's just say, not exist anymore, right? And Naruto from here, after the fight would be over, would then get praised by Kakashi, who would say, like father, like son, and eventually they would make their way towards the bridge, where they would help Tazuna build the bridge, and eventually when Tazuna and his men would arrive, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi would all be able to make run away, leading to the bridge being completed just like in the original, and still being named the Great Naruto Bridge. We then cut over to what happened during the Chunin exams, which I don't believe will be having that much of an impact, except for, well, a very, very massive impact, because Naruto's power level is beyond what it was in the original story, and Naruto has the ability of, well, sorry to say it, but not Zenkai boost, but I mean, he did also receive a very major Zenkai boost with his fight against Haku, because it's not like he didn't take damage. He took damage, and it wasn't life-threatening, but it was still there. And one thing that Naruto has learned to take very, very close advantage of is destroying his body. Like, Naruto loves to straight go crazy with his Kaioken when he's training and shred his body apart, only to let the Zenkai boost do his thing and make him even stronger than he was the day before. So Naruto just does this during the 1 week of preparation for the Chunin exams, and eventually once this Chunin exams would arrive, there would be no Orochimaru there. Minato's in the village and Orochimaru knows not to mess with him. Therefore, no Orochimaru means no attack during their portion when they're inside the forest. No Orochimaru means that the team doesn't encounter any threats. No threats means this arc is boring. Eventually, we would jump into the pre-trial battles before the 1 month of training begins, and essentially Naruto would wipe the floor with Kiba. I'm pretty sure that's unsurprising, but after that would happen, Sasuke would wipe the floor with his own opponent not having received the curse mark, and since they're 14, they're a whole lot stronger than they were in the original. Keep in mind that also adds on to Haku being a lot more powerful, and Zabuza as well, which is why Naruto's power was so strong, and it felt like Haku was still able to keep up, because Haku also had 2 extra years to train, right? However, jumping on from that topic, we're now going to go on to the 1 month of training, in which Naruto would see Jiraiya arrive to the village, and he would say hello, seeing as they've already met, considering Naruto is the son of Jiraiya the Gallant, right? After this, we would end up having the final battle, which would essentially be consisting of Naruto versus Sasuke Uchiha after Sasuke would go on to defeat Gaara of the Red Sand. Now, this battle, I wish I could sit here and be like, oh, it was legendary, it was awesome. Nah, bro. Nah. Sasuke and Naruto just quite literally looked at each other, and they both, through this disdain, would say to each other they're gonna win. Sasuke from here would go on to power a Chidori as soon as the proctor would say go, and Naruto would say, alright, bet. As from here, Naruto would begin to power up a very iconic attack. Kamehameha! However, this attack would completely miss its target because Sasuke would have used the body flicker, a move that he would have learned from Shisui, and considering the fact that this time around Sasuke would have had time to get trained by Fugaku, Itachi, and Shisui Uchiha, I definitely believe that Sasuke would be more than capable to dodge this attack and also would have held his own perfectly against Haku in the previous arc. So from here, Sasuke goes on to sidestep the attack, blitz at Naruto, and stab him in a non-vital part of his body, leading Naruto to cough out blood in front of Sasuke's face and Sasuke to smirk, saying he won. Naruto, however, would go on to grip Sasuke's arm, which he would impale him through his chest, mind you, and Naruto would go on to say, not quite, Sasuke. As from here, he would smirk, and Naruto would go like ballistic. He would power up his Kaioken times 10, and he would turn towards Sasuke before saying that this isn't over until he says it's over, as he would straight grip the arm of Sasuke and not let him go. So like Sasuke's trying to like pry free, but Naruto would straight slap Sasuke silly into the wall, causing an indent of Sasuke's body to appear, and Naruto would fall onto one knee, having been victorious. Immediately, Medical Ninja would arrive on the scene and would treat both Naruto and Sasuke, and Naruto, after that attack would have landed, would receive a massive Zenkai boost from that said attack. Naruto, however, in that moment would have also ended up having something very, very, very interesting take place. Naruto's tail would have grown back. And it's interesting timing, because in the original Dragon Ball manga, we know that Naruto's, or sorry, not Naruto's, but Goku's tail would have ended up coming back in a moment of desperation. This kind of was a moment of desperation. However, I'm going to mainly just attribute Naruto's tail growth back to simply his age, because I think that Goku was around 12 when he got his tail back, or I mean 14 or 12. So we're just going to give Naruto his tail back when he's 14. So it regrew, and Minato upon seeing this would be shocked, but ultimately would think that maybe that tail was the source of that power from so long ago, and maybe they might need that power someday. So letting Naruto keep a hold of that ability would maybe not be the worst decision ever, right? So they let Naruto hold on to that tail, and after Naruto would be healed, massive Zenkai boost, yada yada yada. Eventually, because this happens and nobody in the village gets hurt, there's no need for the Tsunade arc. And because of the fact that Minato was in the village, when the Akatsuki arrive, it's not going to be just Itachi and Kisame, because Obito himself, the leader of the Akatsuki, knows how dangerous Minato is. So when Obito decides to get the Nine-Tailed Kyuubi, it wouldn't be soon. Actually, wait. When Obito decides to come back and get the Nine-Tailed Kyuubi, the Nine-Tails would be in the village, because as we know, the Nine-Tails reincarnate, right? The Nine-Tails reincarnates when it dies because it's just pure chakra. And it reincarnates every 10 years, which means 4 years ago, Minato would have sealed the Nine-Tails, not inside of any of the villagers, because that would not have been right. But he would have sealed the full entirety of the Nine-Tails within himself, taking the burden of being the Nine-Tails' brand new Jinchuriki. So now Minato would be even more busted, and Naruto would have gained back access to his Ozaru wrathful form. Now eventually the day would come where Minato would end up finally walking into the bed of Naruto. And Naruto would turn towards Minato and, he would ask him how he did. And Minato would say he's proud of him. However, they have something to talk about. And Minato would then go on to tell Naruto that he was the beast that attacked 14 years ago. And Naruto would say, really? Like, he'd be shocked. From here, Minato would go on to reveal what that tail is that just grew back, and Naruto would realize that it literally just grew back, going on to pretty much ask the question of what are they going to do about it? Are they just going to cut it off again? And Minato would say that normally, under normal circumstances, he would, but right now, that doesn't seem like the smartest idea. He thinks that they should train up this ability. So for the next couple for the next 2 years, they're going to be going over to the mountain area where they can't bother the village, and he's going to be leaving Jiraiya in charge for only 2 years. Naruto shuddering at the thought, thinking Jiraiya is going to run this village to the ground, and Minato chuckling before then saying, seriously Naruto, we need to make sure that you have very good control over this ability. Naruto would like nod, being like, yes, you know, I understand. And then Minato would say, good, well then let the training commence. And so we would end up having a training arc where Naruto simply manages to try to master the power of the Ozaru. During one of these days, Naruto would have learned an ability very, very special, a very powerful one. Eventually, Naruto would get very rageful, and the Ozaru power would channel through his body without transforming, which would lead Minato to realize that that's what they need to work towards. That bulky form isn't quite good when it comes to real combat, so Naruto needs to learn how to channel that ability through his normal body. So Naruto would end up training, and eventually after the 2 years would master the Ozaru wrathful form in combination with his Zenkai boost, which would have given him a massive boost to his already OP repertoire of moves and abilities with his ki. And also, not to mention, Naruto would have also managed to up his ante of the Kaioken to times 20. So now we're talking times 20 Kaioken times 10 Ozaru wrathful form. So he's only 20 times power away from reaching the point of a Super Saiyan, which will unfortunately not happen this time because there is no reason for it, honestly. Like, if he were to go Super Saiyan, it just wouldn't even be like, not even slightly fun. It would just be very, very boring. Because let's be honest, like, the Super Saiyan is a 50-time multiplier, so even if his power was like 100 times 50 is like 500,000, right? 50,000, I don't know, whatever. Okay, I'm bad at math, okay? Don't flame me too hard in the comments. But ultimately, Naruto, after all this training, would be very powerful, and they would return to the village only for that same day. They return literally 2 years later. They return and they're like having a great time. They walk back and everybody's like, look, it's the Hokage and his son. Like, they're having a great old time. In the sky, Naruto would sense a presence, and Naruto would tell Minato immediately, like, there's something up there. Minato looks up, and simultaneously, bro, literally instantly, Pain would use his ability and shoot it throughout the entire village. As this happens, the village's buildings would blow by entirely, and Naruto would simply turn towards Minato before then asking, what do they do? And Minato would say, they fight. Minato would immediately tap into his Sage Mode KCM2 and would proceed to just stare down at Pain, but not only Pain, Deidara, Sasori, Hidan, Kakazu, Itachi, Kisame, Obito, like Konan. They're all straight there, strapped up and ready to face off against Naruto and Minato. However, not only they would be there, but Fugaku, the entirety of the Uchihas who weren't injured would arrive, meaning Itachi, Shisui, Sasuke, and people like Kakashi would arrive to the battlefield. My guy would arrive to the battlefield. Like, it would get down and dirty in this battlefield, you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, I know I said Itachi joined the Akatsuki, but I apologize for that. Itachi is not present on the Akatsuki. He is, however, present on the good forces. So this would be a very interesting battle, because we have seen Itachi by himself defeat Nagato. So yeah, let's just say that this battle is a very, very cool and interesting one. However, it wouldn't be a very long one, considering that each battle would be taking on their own respective person. And the person that I think that Kakashi would be inclined to fight would probably be Hidan. The one that I see Sasuke fighting would be Deidara. The one that I see Shisui fighting would be Sasori. The one that I see Fugaku fighting would be Kakazu. The one that I would see, what's his name? I don't know, dude. Just know that Naruto would end up facing off against the Paths of Pain, and that Minato would face off against Obito, because why not? You know what I mean? That ability of the Flying Raijin along with KCM2 and the Rasen Shuriken would go crazy. And let's just say that this battle would be over very, very fast. The Akatsuki would get obliterated, and Obito would be forced to retreat, realizing that there is no way in the world that he was going to be winning that battle. Ozaru wrathful form, Kaioken, Naruto would be going crazy in that battlefield. Straight going insane ballistic on the pain clones, right? And he would destroy them straight one-shotting them with his bare fists, shooting gigantic amount of ki blasts all over the battlefield, literally causing damage to some of his own teammates slightly and having them like have to dodge Naruto's like ki blasts and waves and all that stuff. And the battle would ultimately be a battle that lasts about, say, 31 seconds, give or take, leading Obito to have to retreat completely. However, when he goes into his Kamui dimension, Minato would teleport inside with him and would ask him, you know, who he truly is. Obito would take off his mask and Minato would say, "It's you, Obito. What happened?" And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I think What If Naruto Was a Saiyan would go currently. You know, I did a longer version of this and it's a whole lot different than the one that I just covered right now. So if you guys are interested in that one, there will be a link down below for that one, but I'm pretty sure you guys have already seen it. That said, though, ladies and gentlemen, it has been your boy Xehther, and that is all for me today. I'll catch y'all later. Make sure to like the video and also remember that God loves you. And with all that out of the way, peace.